What's up, baby boys, baby girls, and babies in between? It's your boy, Dick Whetti, coming at you with another video for Magic the Gathering Commander. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about sacrificial plays to ensure your victory. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have a board state like this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lands. You have a few dorks. You have Vraska, Betrayal, Sting at 5 loyalty. Wrenn and Realmbreaker at 5 loyalty. And an Ickermoon Gauntlet over here. Broker's Ascendancy doesn't matter because we're not going to be ending the turn here. We got a Soul Ring, we got a Felwar Stone, we don't have our commander. But how are we gonna win? Okay, so our hand has a Doubling Season and a Tamiyo Field Researcher, which is what really matters. You would think that we'd be hoping and praying that we can get this Doubling Season to hit so we can just put out Tamiyo and win. But in reality, our opponents have been talking about which piece on our board needs removal now before our turn comes up. And we've heard that, right? Everyone's talking. Everyone's saying, you know, his board looks pretty scary. Maybe some newer players are like, well, his commander's not out. If you cast his commander, kill that, you know, stuff that doesn't matter. And they don't really see and they don't understand. So they start looking at your board. And at first they mention your planeswalkers, right? Vraska and Wrenn. What you can do at that time is you can let them know, hey, you know, I'm not lying to you. I have a scarier planeswalker in my hand. You might want to save that removal for that. Or an even worse card. And in this situation, we're alluding to the Doubling Season. Even though objectively Doubling Season is a scarier card, we are sort of bending the truth here because we don't really need Doubling Season at this moment. All we need is for Tamiyo to hit an ult. So when they start asking about what's that worst card, you can either keep talking about it being, oh, you know, you'll see, which I would recommend not doing that, because doing that could make them want to fire the trigger and hit something you really don't want to go, like your Karth the Lion. But if they haven't brought any attention to him yet, I wouldn't bring any attention to him either. You have a lot of outs in this situation, but the easiest and quickest out is just to say, hey guys, I have a Doubling Season in my hand, and you know I have another Planeswalker. So, I mean, I'm just gonna let you know, if you can do what you want, but if I was you, I'd probably hold off on the removal. A seasoned player, a truly seasoned player, would understand that is a ruse. That is you just trying to get over on them. But most commander players aren't going to be thinking that far ahead. They're most likely just focused on their board, and they're not really worried about what's going on around the table. So they most likely will take the bait. So we'll draw for turn, and in this situation I'm pretending like it's already my turn. Maybe we drew this Narset or something, whatever, and we'll say, look, hey, you know, I know you guys are fighting and arguing about which thing to kill on the board. Maybe they mention the Ickermoon Gauntlet. You let them know, hey, I have a Mycosynth Gardens over here. You get rid of that, and I'll just turn it into Ickermoon Gauntlet. You know, just playing up the fact that you don't want anything dead. You say, look, here, I'll do you a favor. Everybody wants to talk about what to kill. Let me make it easy on you, so everyone can stop arguing. You tap 5, cast Doubling Season, and you say, there you go, it's here. I'm going to cast a Planeswalker next, so do with it as you will. And so then they're like, yeah, kill the Doubling Season, kill the Doubling Season. So then you just tap to filtering it the right way, because, you know, we're a little dumb. 3, 4. This is just for a tutorial anyways. If this is a real game, I would have obviously tapped my mana correctly. And we cast Tamiyo. Casting Tamiyo, they're most likely going to get scared in response, kill the Doubling Season. They lost their removal. And now you can go ahead and win. Because even though Tamiyo doesn't enter with 8, she enters with 4, we have Ickermoon Gauntlet. And so now we're going to use Vraska's ability to 0 her, which is actually a +1. So then she gets 6, bumps up to 7. And you draw a card, lose 1 life, and proliferate. So we draw a card, lose a life, proliferate, putting 1 on Ren, putting 1 on Tamiyo. And then we're going to use Ickermoon's ability for Ren and Realmbreaker to proliferate. So Ren and Realmbreaker goes to 7, Vraska goes to 8, Tamiyo goes to 6, right? And at this moment, because we have, Ren and Realmbreaker actually goes to 8 because of Karth the Lion. But yeah, since we have Karth the Lion, Tamiyo's ability is a -7, but it costs an additional +1, so it's a -6. So we'll -6 Tamiyo, and we're going to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And then we get to cast spells from our hand without paying their mana cost. Right? So then we're going to cast Ugin, who enters with 7. We're going to cast Tamiyo, who enters with 4. And we're going to cast Teferi, Master of Time. He's going to enter with 3. And then we'll cast Narset Transcendent, which will enter with 6. So with this board, we're then going to 0 Narset, which is actually a +1, which brings her up to 8 to proliferate everything. And we're going to 0 Tamiyo, which brings her up to 7, which is actually a +1, right? So now Tamiyo's at 7, Ugin's at 9, Narset's at 9, Teferi's at 5. And then one more time, because we don't really want to lose Ugin. Can if you want, but I wouldn't. We're going to plus Teferi to bring everything else up. And then we're going to use Ugin's -9, going to 1. We're going to draw 7, and we can put 7 permanents down. Not the best, but we basically just won. Because we're going to put in a Johnny, Oath of Teferi, which is going to allow us to activate loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers twice each turn rather than once. Vorinclex is going to see these Planeswalkers enter, and they're going to get doubled. So that means Liliana enters with 12. And we get 2 fetch lands. And then we have a Johnny entering with 8. So at this point, we're going to -8 Liliana. Well, before we do that, let's, instead of using a Johnny's ability for -5, we're actually going to proliferate. Which is actually going to put 2 counters on them, because now we have Vorinclex on the field. And then, might as well just proliferate again with the Johnny. We don't need his ability. We're going to win. So here, what we'll do is we will neg 9 to Fairy. That's his second activation, to take 2 extra turns after this. And then what we can do is we can choose to kill off a player with Vraska if we want, or we can just proliferate with our Planeswalkers who haven't activated a second time this turn. And then we can neg 9 Ugin again. So if we did that, Renin Realmbreaker, go to 11. Vraska, go to 13. Teferi will go to 4. Tamiyo can go to 14. And Johnny will go to 15. I don't even know what we haven't activated a second. Oh. No, we did activate Liliana. I don't know what we activated a second time. Sure, we'll just activate Ugin. Have him go to 9. Have everything else go up 2. But now we're essentially unstoppable, because we could just pass the turn to ourselves, draw a card, Mana Crypt, doesn't matter, and do it all over again, but this time taking another 2 extra turns. So now we have 3 turns waiting for us. Alting Ugin again, you know, drawing 1, 2, 3, 4. That's another Planeswalker. 5, 6, another Planeswalker. 7, and another Planeswalker. Just fueling ourselves, being able to alt these Planeswalkers that came out, and our opponents can't stop us. All because we got maybe a little too out of hand, but we also sacrificed a major permanent so that the better one could live. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Whetti out.